Hi, everybody. This is Warner with Employer Outreach. We have a lot of people that registered for this event, so we're just going to wait about another 30 seconds and then we'll get started here with the information session with the United States Park Police. Thank you so much for being here today. For those who are just logging in right now, we're just going to wait a few more seconds for everyone to log in as we had a large amount of people register for the event, and we'll get started here in just a second with the information session with the United States Park Police. Thank you for being here. All righty. Thank you so much. Hello and welcome to today's information session with the United States Park Police. It's part of the National Park Service. My name is Werner Petzold, and I'm an employer outreach specialist at the University of Arizona Global Campus and a 10-year U.S. Air Force veteran. We're excited you could join us today to learn about the exciting career opportunities with the United States Park Police. And before I turn the floor over to Spencer, I want to go over a few housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded. For all those who registered for today's information session, the recording will be emailed to you in a few days. We will take time to answer as many questions as possible during and at the end of the presentation. At the bottom of the screen is a Q&A button. You can submit questions with your name or anonymously to be answered live. We will do our best to get as many questions answered as we can. However, if your question is not answered by the end of the presentation, you can email it to Career Services, that's both words mashed together, at uagc.edu. We will follow up with the United States Park Police to get any remaining questions answered. Also, feel free to engage in the chat. You can pose questions in the chat, and members of the Career Services team will be available to help answer questions throughout the presentation. If you have any technical difficulties, we recommend logging out of Zoom and logging back in. Now, I would like to introduce our guest speaker. Joining us today is Spencer Jackson, recruiter and park police officer at the United States Park Police. Spencer, we are very excited to hear your presentation, and thank you for joining us today. I'll go ahead and turn the floor over to you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. This is my first presentation, so bear with me, everybody. It's my first time, so I'm just getting into recruiting and things like that. So it's been my big passion of mine. I will share my screen once I get everything up. Just give me 1 second.
And I'm going to jump out on video, but I'll be right here if you need me.
Okay. Here we go. All right. So can everybody still hear me?
Yes.
All right. So yes, we are the United States Park Police, but I just wanted to introduce myself first. So a little bit about me. I'm Spencer Jackson. I'm from New York, born in New York City. Kind of a little bit up and down. We moved outside the city to more upstate to get more of the landscape, the mountain ranges, and the nice trees, but a little travel. And then my current roles right now. So I am a full-time police officer here at U.S. Park Police, but also I'm also in recruiting. I'm kind of doing like a collateral internship duty right now, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that once I complete this hiring series that we're trying to do now, that hopefully it will be full time. So we'll see how it goes. Also, I went to 2 colleges. So I went to Dean College in Franklin, Massachusetts, and then I also went to finish out my degree in criminal justice at Marist University in Poughkeepsie, New York. I mainly did football, so I'm kind of a jock. So I just did mainly football, and I was like, yeah, I'll pay attention to my education and things like that. So coming back, I was like, all right, I got to do both. So it kind of got me on the right path once I got to Marist and things like that. And then fast forward, I didn't know what to do. So guys, like I was applying to everything that you can think of: Secret Service, Capitol Police, CIA, all these type of jobs I was applying to. I didn't know where to start. And most of the time they said, "Where's your experience?" So I was like, "Do I have to join the military or things like that?" So I didn't know. But luckily, I one of the jobs I applied for, it hit, and I got since I'm from New York, I got the New York City Parks Department. It was different. I never thought about it. I do like being outdoors, and it kind of helped. I did park stuff, but also law enforcement too in New York City. So I was mainly in Central Park. I joined their task force, did plain clothes, things like that. And it was kind of good to learn on who I wanted to be. At this job, we didn't carry a firearm. We have everything else, all the batons, pepper spray, but they didn't give us any firearm because they wanted you to learn how to use your verbal judo, how to talk to people, how to de-escalate situations and things like that. So that's kind of what got my foot in the door. And then, like everybody else, it all depends how your career goes. I still wanted to go federal, so I went to the National Security Agency Police Department. So I was doing cool things, protecting, got the top security clearance, protecting every national security work site and things like that. And then one day I saw, because we're next to a highway 295 in Maryland, I saw a car roll by and it said U.S. Park Police. I was like, wait, what? Like, that's my dream. I always wanted to go back to it. So I kind of inched my way. I was like, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. And that's how I kind of got my foot in the door. And then I'll give you more of the benefits on why I joined this agency. And the last thing I will talk about is how I really just got into criminal justice just because of my dad. Huge part of my life. One day he was a fraud investigator for New York City, and he told me stories all the time, chasing cars, doing these other things. But one day he had, back in the day, you know, in the 90s, they had like bring your kid to work day. So when they brought me there, I was able to like see what he did on a day to day. But then there was like a scenario for us on the kids. I was so little at the time, didn't know what I was doing. And they give us like fake baggies of whatever paraphernalia they think it is. I'm standing on the street of the corner. Some guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, give me that." And I was like, okay. So I gave it to him, and all these cars came out of nowhere, pulling up, arrested. And I was like, and they're like, "Good job, you arrested." And I was like, okay. And that's how it kind of started my evolution into law enforcement. And here I am. But enough about me, more about Park Police to get back on track. So obviously, I'll get into what we do now, all the things, all the cool day-to-day operations. But let's time travel with me. Let's go back to 1791, where it all started. So obviously, 1791, DC was created. Basically, President George Washington brought in a Frenchman. His name, I keep forgetting his name, Pierre Charles Lafont or something like that. They brought him in to design DC. Once he designed DC, George Washington then realized that he had all this federal and national land that he had to take care of. So he thought to himself, who should I get to protect these lands? Which group should I start? And then he started a group called the Watchmen. The Watchmen is a group mainly to protect federal lands and federal buildings and things like that. I don't give too much credit to the name because the name during that time in the 18th century, it was kind of, you named all your patrolmen and guards the Watchmen. But hey, if that's our first name, I'll take it. I love it, and it's the best. And then in 1849, DOI was created, Department of Interior. So once they had that creation, they kind of said, "We'll take over all the federal lands and things like that, and we'll take over it." And so during that time, we were the Watchmen, but then they switched the name throughout time to Park Police, and they switched us in that underneath them. So we were what, Department of Interior, and then in 1916, that's when the National Park Service started, right? So obviously DOI, they gave up all the let's say this jurisdiction and all the mission states to the National Park Service. And then since the National Park Service, I'm thinking back in that time, like National Park Service and U.S. Park Police at the time, they probably sat at the table and say, "Hey, you guys have Park Police in your name. Why don't you come over to the National Park Service?" And that's how it kind of started from right then and there. And then in 1919, that's when we got the official name of U.S. Park Police. You see all these pictures, they're pretty cool. I did some research, I had to find them. But yeah, we had horse mounted. We had the canine, the original watchman in that picture is right there in the middle, which is pretty cool. I had to hard to find, and then horse mounted as well. And then our early on bike patrol days, that's pretty cool. And we still do now. Next, I'll get into is our field offices, because there's a lot of difference. So a lot of people say like, "Hey Spencer, why is only California and New York?" Because those are our two new spots that we have. And I say that so back in the day in the 1970s and 80s, while working with the National Park Service, they agreed upon certain areas that had a lot of visitory population. So obviously everybody's going to the Statue of Liberty. It's so funny. I'm from New York City. I've never been there once. So one day, hopefully, I have to take a trip, or maybe we do a lot of missions, or I can go up there, check it out, work with my coworkers that are up there, my classmates, and things like that. And the same thing kind of happened with the San Francisco field office. If you guys look at this picture, the north side of the bridge, the Golden State Bridge, that's more National Park law enforcement rangers. They take care of that side, and then we take care of the south side. And the south side is pretty huge. If you ever Google the like San Francisco, you'll see that this picture doesn't do it justice. It goes so far down. We take care of all those beaches. That's National Park Service area, and then right there where the bridge is, that's Supercidio. That's where we have like towns and areas on there. So we take care of those. We'll get those calls of robberies and things like that. That is our area that we succeed in. And then obviously Washington D.C. is that's our main hub. That's where our headquarters is. So that's where our chief of police is and things like that. We do get our chance to go out and branch off to those areas, but we mainly stick to our area. But you also, when you apply to these jobs, you most likely will be able to select Washington D.C. or San Francisco coming out. Okay. Next slide is where our career paths go. There's so many on this board and so many avenues and places that you can and go to. So it's pretty cool on what we do. I tell people about this job all the time when I'm at career fairs is just picture your local agency. We're just that on a federal level. So I do what I do. So I'm from New York. I do like NYPD. We have the same exact police authority. We're just on a federal level, right? So we're going to have your major crimes, your horse mounted units, your ID techs. ID tech is just like the ones on TV where they're taking picture of the crime scene. Just like I would say a month ago, I just had somebody break into a National Park Service house. So I had to call them on scene to fingerprint the glass that got broken into. They were drinking from a couple drinks. So I was like, yeah, I take that too. And they do fingerprints and then they do crash investigation, death investigations. They do it all. So it's pretty cool. And then our bread and butter on this list, I would say, is our aviation. They are the front page news on what they do all the time. And it's really cool job on what they do. So obviously, if you have aviation experience, we'll take that into account, but we'll teach you how to fly here. We mainly hire if you have EMS experience, any medical emergency experience, we kind of hire you through that way once you're on this job, and then they'll teach you how to fly after that. And they're working all the time. We do a chase. We now have we're allowed to chase in DC and the whole DMV area. So certain cars, I can't call out the roads all too fast, so I have to have aviation above to help me out and do those things. The next slide is how to get on this job. So that's the police officer qualifications. Obviously, you'll see that first bullet. I don't want to read it because even when I read it, I was like, it's too much verbiage. I got it straight from our job site. But all it's saying altogether in a summary, it's just saying you need at least 1 year of work experience, right? Obviously, you just want to make sure you can make good decisions and apply law and instructions in an orderly, correct fashion. That's what they're really meaning for, okay? So just like when I applied to certain jobs, it doesn't have to be law enforcement. It can be anything like that. And then obviously have the 60 credits, which is basically like an associate's degree. And then obviously sometimes we'll take into account both. If you don't have 60 credits or you're just almost there or your work experience is not where it's at, we kind of look at each case on a case by case basis and we plan it out from there. Okay. And that's like I kind of said before, like what if you don't have law enforcement experience? I get that a lot when I go to a career fair or a job fair that's not really for law enforcement. And I kind of tell people I don't really need I wouldn't say need. It's not that I want everybody that has a criminal justice degree to apply to this job. I want people sitting at the different table. When I go to scenes, I would like people with different mindsets at everything I do to help me with decision making and things like that. So on this job and at my previous jobs, I have talked to people with majors of they've been teachers before or they've been a nurse before. I even talked to a person he went to Purdue University for a film degree and he was working with me. And I was like, dude, go be Christopher Nolan and do your stuff and then come back. But he does what he wants and that's how it kind of goes. So yeah, so it's mainly on your resume, as long as you show and express that you can be a supervisor or manager and show that experience or just working with different types of people and demonstrating your ability to work independent. Because when you're on this job, you're in the car by yourself. You don't really have a partner in your car with you. So we need to make sure that you can handle those situations. When you get a call, can you handle it by yourself? Obviously, you can call to get backup. I will be there immediately, but sometimes you have to handle those things by yourself. Okay. And then just the other conditions of employment that are major that I get a lot of questions for. You got to be a U.S. citizen. You have to have a high school degree or a GED. A new one that we just added to our list is you have to have a real ID, a driver's license. And I was worried about this one too. I had to Google it. I was like, what is that? That is new to me. That is just make sure when you can Google it too. Like when you look at your driver's license, some have the star on it, or it might have another feature depending on your state that shows that you actually have a real ID. And another major one is that you have to be at least 21, but not yet 37, because when you're at this job, we have a 20-year retirement, right? And at the end in the federal government on this job, you have to retire at 57. Obviously, we'll get into all that at the end on how to extend those things like that, but those are the strict rules. So that way you do your 20 years, you get to retire and live on your life, okay? And then you must be able to pass a background check, drug tests, and physical fitness tests, and then the medical exam as well, okay? All right, this is the number one thing that everybody is on the mind. I was gonna make a joke and put down a little small print at the bottom, just like a commercial. But this is a limited time hiring bonus that we're doing at Senate because we're having a hiring surge right now. It sounds like a lot. I wish I can just Venmo you guys 70K or send a direct deposit to you, but we're not gonna do that. All right. So it's gonna be broken down into 4 years, a 4-year commitment. So I did the math for you just so you guys see it. You can screenshot this, send it to your parents or wherever you want, and it looks good. So and then you're gonna break that down into 4 years. So that's $17,500 each year. And then you're gonna break that down into 26 pay periods, your paychecks, because that's how it goes. And then you're looking at that before tax. So it looks like an extra chunk change in your weekly, bi-weekly paycheck, all right? Another thing, like I said about our virtual hiring process, it's kind of 2 phases. It's all lumped together, but you will apply on USA Jobs. USA Jobs is its own entity. So once you go on, you Google it, USA Jobs, you type in United States Park Police, and it'll pop right up. You'll see the 3 openings that we have, and you select which one's best for you. Sometimes we have entry, sometimes we have experience, and sometimes we have retirement as well. And then once you're on the job, that's when you start. Once you apply through USA Jobs, you make it through I would say like the fishnet, and then we'll get that list of people that are qualified through there, and then you'll take your post test. which is an online like fifth grader test right there. You'll just do some math, which was hard for me. It's a lot of percentages, like, and I had to like switch it down. Calculator, so you got to do like long division to figure it out and things like that. It was hard for me, but then you pass that step, and then you'll do your background investigation. You'll meet your background investigation just like this on a Zoom call, and they will go over your forms that you uploaded. So just making sure everything matches up and that they have a case file for you. And then once you get a thumbs up from them, then you'll get your tentative job offer. Don't celebrate too soon. Don't get the champagne or anything like that. That's just to start the process for the second phase. So the second phase, that's when you do your panel interview. Same thing, you'll do another virtual Zoom call like this with two higher ups at this job, maybe a sergeant, a lieutenant, or a captain, or maybe even above. And you'll talk to them, and they'll give you kind of scenario questions and see how you answer it and things like that. Okay. After that, obviously, you'll do your drug screening, fingerprinting like any other job, and then you'll do your security interview just to keep looking into your background, make sure everything checks out. And then once they get that final application review, NPS and US Park Police will look at your case file, and then you make it through, you'll get your final job offer, and you'll be here to start the process. You'll do your orientation week here and things like that, and that's when you'll do your physical test. Obviously on here, I did not add the requirements. On here, it's based off your gender and age. I did not add that because once you start this process, we'll send you that list because it's a huge chart. You'll look at the column that you're in, and you just have to get 70%. That's the lowest. Anything above that, you will qualify. All right. And you will do your hands-free push-ups, your Illinois agility run, which I have on here. It looks confusing, but once we'll practice, we'll demo it for you a couple times, and then it's easy. You'll be the fastest, and maybe you'll break somebody's record here. And then the last is what I hate the most because I'm a short distance runner. You'll do your 1.5 mile time. Like I said, we'll send you the standards. Even at the end of this, you'll get my information. If you want to look at it in advance and train for it now, you can definitely do that, and I'll send it to you over. But yeah, those are our 3 main things that we have. I would say it's not easy, but it does test you a little bit, especially that 1.5 mile, because all that, the push-ups, the agility run, it's going to exhaust you. So that way, when you get to 1.5 mile time, it's all mental. You just want to keep running, and you'll finish it, and we'll be there. I will probably be there to watch you run because sometimes I work that event. And then once you pass that, then it's time for academy, the good part, the fun part. So when you're here, if you're entry level, you will go to Glencoe, Georgia, the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. Short, we'll call that FLETC. You'll do 12 weeks there. 12 weeks is basically 3 months. When you go here, it's more of a college feel. It's not like the movies. It's not like a state trooper academy or anything worse where they're waking you up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., knocking on the door, pouring water in your face. It's more laid back and chill. We just want you to learn the basics of being a law enforcement officer. Nothing park police rated, really. So you will learn how to drive a police car with the sirens on, lights on, and things like that in a safe manner, getting to point A to point B. And then we'll teach you how to shoot. You might be a marksman now, you go to ranges all the time with family members or friends, but we'll teach you how to shoot properly. And then also another thing, we'll do scenarios too. How do you react when you do an active shooter situation, or when you have to put out a bolo on the radio? We do all that there just so you can learn the basics. Once you graduate FLETC, then you'll come back to Cheltenham, Maryland. It's kind of outside of DC area. And that's when you begin your park police specific training, really. That's when you'll learn all the policies here, how we operate, how we do operate our day-to-day operations, and especially you'll learn how we run a traffic stop, how do you pull over a vehicle, how do you do your time sheets and things like here. And then once you learn all those things, it'll take 2 tests there just to make sure that you learn the policies. And then you'll start your field training, which is the best part. So a field trainer, I am a field trainer instructor. So I kind of did this schedule based on me. So let's say I work in Rock Creek Park. If you Google DC, it's like almost like a central park of DC. That's why I kind of picked it. So you'll start with me. You'll do 2 weeks with me. Once you finish those 2 weeks, you'll go to another station. One I have here is District 4, Baltimore Washington Parkway. That is a highway that leads from DC all the way up to Baltimore. So you will get to work with them, see if you like highways, how they have crash reports and things like that. And after those 2 weeks, you'll switch again to another parkway, maybe. This is all an example. You'll do District 2. This is in Virginia. So you'll get a feel for it again. And during this whole time, you're learning on more things like, oh, this is how I did a traffic stop with Jackson. This is how I did it with somebody else. And you just keep progressing. And then you'll do another 2 weeks at D5, another one down at District 1, which is our headquarters that mainly does the National Mall. You'll learn all those things, and then you'll come back to me. The point of this is to see your growth by the end. So I want to see, I started with you, see that you needed to work on something, and then by the time I hope that you succeeded or even went past that. So that way, when it's time for me to fill out my paperwork, you're a golden star and you're ready to start your job. And that is what to expect. So some of the highlights here that I like about this job, I kind of highlighted. So this is the main thing I put on number one on this list, and kind of what got me to hear from NSA is I heard what the schedule was. So it said 12-hour shifts, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And they're saying like you're gonna work half the week, half the month. Once they said that, I probably applied that same day. And you can see a sample calendar. That's how it's kind of gonna look. I kind of have that on one of my apps on my phone just so I can see it. But yeah, so you'll work Sunday. This is my schedule. So you'll work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then you're off. Oh yeah, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. One of those days is going to be 8-hour days just to fill out your 40-hour work week. But most of the time I'll stay for the extra 4 hours for overtime. And then you'll be off Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You'll come back and you can see you'll be on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then you're off 4 days in a row. So this job gives you a lot of freedom and time to, hey, if you have extra, I have a hobby that you do on the weekends, you can still maintain that. So like me, an example for me is like I like part-time jobs because here everybody has a part-time job to get money. So I kind of do the same thing. So I was doing security for the Baltimore Ravens at one point. And then I was like, I found another job that really interests me. And then I got a job for the Washington Commanders. So I don't know if you guys watch like for college football or even the pros, before the players run out, who runs out? The flag runners. So I am a flag runner for the Washington Commanders, and I just run out there waving the flag. And then once I put that flag down, I'm watching an NFL game, and it's a pretty chill day and fun day. Uh, but yeah, that leaves up to you. So whatever you want to do in your off day is really good. And then another one is the unlimited overtime. Since I put a thing on India, I put MPS special events. Since we work with the National Park Service, we do all the special. We kind of do security for all the national events here. So the Marine Corps Marathon, the 250th anniversary for the Army, that's happening all year, like that we will be there. Or if there's a march, if there's a protest or demonstration, we will be there. Or even the good ones, we have a wolf trap. It's kind of an old amphitheater that was here in Virginia. If you're ever in the area, I would say come by because we do all those events and all the stars come out. So I've seen uh John Legend, Cynthia Erivo, I did who else did I did? Jerry Seinfeld, he did a stand up, and that was pretty cool to see. So you get to be here to see a lot of things. Even when I got on this job, immediately I was in field training status, and there was a concert on the National Mall, almost like a Coachella kind of. There was concerts everywhere. It was a good day to see like upcoming artists while I'm still working. So it's pretty cool. Another cool what to expect is calls of service. So this is the more law enforcement agency, all right? We will have opportunities, and I'll go over that as well, to do if you're interested in more park ranger, National Park Service things, we can do that. but we're more urban than anything else. I just tell people to always remind us. So you can do traffic stops here. You'll get calls for thefts and robberies, and then you'll get calls for, or you'll be a part of multi-agency operations working with other agencies here. And like I said, so you can do park ranger national park things as well. Since in my area we get a lot of theft from autos, right? People leave their things in the car and they want to walk a trail, and they'll call me once they find out that their car got broken into. So I will do all that work myself. So sometimes I'll run, if they have the tag of the person, that'll be great. But even if they don't, hey, what are the card transactions that went through? Can I get that? Did they just go to the nearest store? I'll go to that store. I can get video footage or things like that, just to keep the investigation going. And I'll work with my major crimes to also do those things as well. And then lastly is the career advancement and training. Obviously, you can move on to officer, sergeant, take the sergeant's test, and then be a lieutenant, take the lieutenant test, and onward and upward. If you want to be police chief, go ahead, definitely do it. Those are how you keep going up. Or if you want to join one of those specialty units, you can do the same thing. K9, the traffic safety unit, recruiting. You can do those things, and then trainings. That's what a really good thing that we have here. Department of Interior. It's like DOI talent. That's where all the trainings are under National Park Service, the Bureau of Land Management. All those trainings are under there, so you can kind of pick on what you want and select, and you can get it. And then we also do National Park Service has a contract with LinkedIn Learning. So I am always on there. If I wanted to apply to a job later, or even here, if I wanted to be in the intelligence unit, I work with LinkedIn Learning to get those certs to add it to my resume. So when I apply, I will be more competitive for it than anybody else. So I definitely use LinkedIn Learning even for recruiting, because I want to learn all the facets of this job, and that's how it kind of has been going. All right. These are my questions. If you have any questions, please let me know. I went kind of fast here, it feels like, but that's what I got.
No, it went really good. Thank you, Spencer, for that. It was good. It's really in depth and very relatable, and we love that. So thank you for being so real with us. We absolutely appreciate that. Yeah,
Of
we got
course.
plenty of questions in here, so let's get to them. We got some in the chat, and we got some here. So some of the ones, give me just a second. I'm just trying to click on a couple here. One second. We go. So you mentioned, I think one of the things that you mentioned earlier, and your examples were great about how your path through the U.S. Park Police. Excuse me. How would you, is there like when you start out, are there certain areas that people tend to go to, or how do they determine maybe like the percentages of based on who you are and how you perform that you go here or you can apply over there? Is there a minimum amount of time that you need to be when you first get hired after all the training in
Mm-hmm.
DC as well as, in Georgia and all of that? What are your opinions on that, or just to give everybody an idea of the career
No,
path uh,
I'll see if I
follow?
get your question right. It's almost so when you're on this job, then everything's open up to you. So if there's an announcement open for, let's say, SWAT or the horse mounted unit,
Uh-huh.
they'll send out their qualifications with them as well. And then once you qualify, saying like you've been on this job for 2 years, 3 years, once you apply, you'll most some special units are different than others. You either take a test or you don't, and then you'll put your name in a hat, and then that's how it kind of goes.
Got it. Misty is asking a question here. Good one. Are there any positions that do not require shooting qualifications?
Correct. Yes, we do. So a lot of people I've been working with the National Park Service, since we work with the National Park Service all the time, mostly their administration jobs is with them. So I tell people be on the lookout for a National Park Service and apply through that way. So because our HR I reach out to is with them or things like that. But then also our number one bread butter is I need somebody to help me with my calls. So our dispatcher is our number one job that we have right now as well. I just spoke to the captain of that department right now, and he said they're working on a new announcement. So just keep on a lookout. I'm gonna have on this opening that I have, if you scan it, it's going to take you to my hub. Basically, you click on the police officer, it's going to take you to a layout on USA Jobs where you'll see public dispatcher, and then you come and apply. And they kind of the benefit for our dispatchers, they keep the same schedule as the police officer. So same schedule that I kind of went over, they'll have those same things, the same amount of leave, they'll do everything the same basically, and it's not no firearm for you.
William is asking, he's a veteran, military vet, and he's got a bachelor's degree and he's 47 years old. Is there any
Okay.
department that does not require an age limit, Spencer?
That is correct. So anybody with military experience, that's going to be waived. Obviously, when you're
Ah,
going through the whole process, that's when you upload your 214 form,
hmm.
and then we'll take it from there with your background investigator.
Oh, wow. Is there any other things that the military bypasses or when it comes to training or anything like that? Or
Yeah, no, that's the main thing that it's going to be there for. And then also, even if you have law enforcement experience already,
Mhm.
we waive that on a case by case basis as well. That age requirement.
I was just about to ask that. So, like in the Air Force, you know that we have the people that do security police, which are out on the
Hmm.
flight line, protecting aircraft, in addition to the law enforcement agencies on the base, much like all
Hmm.
the other bases, other branches of the service. So, somebody like that, how would that be considered law enforcement experience, or how do you rate that?
Correct. So yeah, we have had during our hiring surge right now, we have had a couple of people to apply like that, and they kind of made it through on our laterals. But also, it we kind of we work with you. So whatever certification you have, we take a look at that just to make sure it's official and what you have learned through that academy. Because some academies they'll teach you more things than others. Once you see what your credits were in, we'll take into account and we'll let you know from there in the
How
process.
about because Misty had mentioned a question earlier today, and this kind of applies to everybody, Spencer. Many
Hmm.
people that are maybe pursuing their law enforcement degrees right now with us, criminal justice, homeland security, we
Of
offer those.
course.
And maybe they're transitioning out of the military. Maybe they're not, maybe they're 6 months out, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Mm-hmm.
when they apply that early, how early can they apply? When would they be considered? Is the bachelor's degree really something that they should wait on, or what is your advice regarding that, please?
I would say it changes. So I just spoke to another individual like this too. So they were saying like I really want to be a park police officer, but I also want to finish my degree. It's a case by case basis. Take my advice with a grain of salt. But if you want to finish your degree, go ahead. Park police will always be here for you to apply and get your name in a hat and get on this job. But if you really feel that you want to get on this job, apply. And then once you get here, you'll be a federal government, federal in the federal government. You work with Department of Interior or National Park Service. They'll most likely help you finish your degree, depending on the criterias of the degree that the major that you have.
I see. That's a good one too. That's much to consider. Um, there's so many things that we could just talk about for days. I was looking at this other one here that Ashley had asked, and that's why I brought that up, Spencer, because
Okay.
she graduated with her degree in social and criminal justice in April. But then I had some that were, in the process of, so they might be, graduating
Yeah,
the next 6 months or something like that. So,
definitely.
I mean, you're so close, you're
Yeah,
within a few months.
especially especially now since we're having a hiring surge, we're hiring faster than ever before. So we're
I was about to
hiring.
ask you that. That's exactly because
Yeah,
all
we're
the other
hiring.
agencies are hiring, and yeah, I would assume you guys are hiring as well. So,
Correct. Yes, yes. So we're hiring as fast as we can. It's more like the more information you give to us, the faster we get you on. I would say most likely you'll be on this job within 4 to 5 months, or even less.
oh
That's
wow,
just depending on a case by case basis on how we can process you.
sure. And how about because you mentioned in your
Hold on.
presentation that
Hold
uh, DC and San Francisco would be
on.
maybe the first stops for people when they get assigned. Uh,
Correct. Yes.
how do they end up getting assigned? Let's say, I don't know, Montana at the, other
Mm,
other places, that
that
you
is
have.
that is a That is definitely a goal. Yeah. So that's the one caveat with the National Park Service and
Hmm.
United States Park Police. Sometimes I'll get calls, people think like, hey, like I'm living in St. Louis, I want to be up there, or I want to be in Montana, or I want to be in Yellowstone, but
Hmm.
we mainly focus on those three locations. Since we work on the National Park Service, we do have the authority to make arrests and do things in every single national park, but we only focus on those three locations. I would tell people we do get emails time to time about, hey, they need officers at certain areas. Like the last one they had was in Boston, or sometimes certain parts of California or South Dakota from Mount Rushmore. But we mainly focus on those three locations. All right.
Got it. I was just wondering about that. There's another question here regarding internships. Are there any internships for military personnel offhand?
Correct. So I just spoke to somebody today. Most of our all our internships, they go through the National Park Service. We don't have it on our site, but if you once you on that link, you can take you to the homepage and you just
Hmm.
type in internships. A whole list will pop up for even certain areas that you want to be in, all different regions of the U.S.
So another question here is, what advice would you give? Oh, excuse me, that just went away. I click on it. Oh my, sorry about that. Waiting, scrolling down here. One second.
No,
Oh,
you're
there it is.
good.
What advice would you give to students that to make their applications stand out in the crowd? That's a really good one.
Um, it it's on a case by case basis. Like obviously, if you have law enforcement experience or just security experience, that kind of stands out
Sure.
more. But I kind of tell people, just like we kind of went over, even if you don't have law enforcement experience, we kind of want to see, hey, were you a manager? Do you have any supervisor traits in your resume and things like that that pop out to us? And we take that into account, definitely.
What skills or experiences do successful officers have?
Our number one that me and my coworker we just talked about, you need to communicate at this job, right? When you
Sure.
get into certain situations here,
Yeah.
are you able to de-escalate the situations
De-escalate. Yeah.
just by using your words? You have interpersonal skills where you're able to work with others because everybody has a different mindset at this job. So it's time when you come to a scene and you call back up, can you guys work together to get the task done? Those are my main two ones that I think about all the time.
Somebody here, Jordan, had mentioned he's currently serving on active duty, but doesn't have any aviation experience, and he's interested in that. So, how could granted, everybody has to go through Spencer's of training and all that, just like everybody in the
Hmm.
military has to go through our training, same thing. But can you elaborate on getting to like the aviation piece in your
Yes, of
skills,
course. Yeah, yeah,
please?
yeah. So once you get on this job, it's kind of the same thing. Once a opening happens, you go
Hmm.
ahead and apply. And another good thing they kind of tell you once you go to the hangar, because once you're on this job, you can always ask for a ride to fly somewhere, or let them wherever they go, they'll take you with you. But also, if you have, like I kind of said before, if you have any EMS experience,
Hmm.
that's how they kind of hire you on first to be
Ah,
EMS first, and then they'll teach you how to be a pilot after, and then that's how you get on the unit.
got it. Do you have any support? I would assume you have support personnel much like the military that may be in the back of the helicopter doing other
Correct.
roles.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah. Every time we get into a crash situation, those are the first out, and then they'll take them to the hospital and wish for the best.
very good. And then, are you guys hiring for administrative support positions?
So we do on a time to time basis. I would say like 2 weeks ago, we had one open for a general supply specialist.
Hmm.
That was open, so that kind of takes care of all our uniform, all the logistics and things like that. That was open. Dispatching as well, that was on there. But there's nothing really else really administrative. That's why I always tell people like, hey, check out the National Park Service opening, because those are the main two. And sometimes we have like an IT specialist as well.
I know you touched on this earlier in the training. There's not that many more questions, by the way, Spencer. We're practically wrapping up here. So,
You're good.
one of the ones that somebody asked here, which you kind of brought up, but they're asking a little bit more detail, like, is the training similar to like Quantico or like a police academy? I know you mentioned that. And then
Hmm.
also, how does that the intersection of being federal work with the FBI, let's say?
So back to like FLETC. Like I said, it is more. It's more
Georgia.
college. It's more Glencoe, Georgia.
Hmm.
It's more college based. You'll be off on weekends. During the days, it's most likely to like 8 a.m. to like 2 or 3.
Hmm.
And once you're off, you have the freedom to do what. Hey, sometimes the cafeteria food is not the best, just like in high school or middle
All good.
school. I remember those days.
Basic
And so
training, food. I totally get
correct.
it.
Yeah.
Totally get
So
it.
something you're like, and then if you look at the location of Glencoe, Georgia, it's right in the corner of Georgia, bottom right corner. So you are able to, hey, if you want to go to Savannah for the weekend, you can do that. If you want to go to Jacksonville, you can do that. If you want to go further, you can. You just got to make it back to class that next Monday. All right.
And
So you
I,
have free time to do that.
I'd like to ask you a question. And I
Of
know I
course.
just met you, and we are so privileged again to have you here today. Thank you so much, Spencer. But if you were to project, say, 5 years from now, because you're working here with the United States Park Police, where
Hmm.
does Spencer Jackson see himself, the
Oh my
Park Police,
gosh.
5 years from now?
That's really funny you said that. So obviously, when I first got on this job, I got on this
Hmm.
job in 2021,
Yep,
and I saw in my orientation, I saw that we needed help recruiting, getting more people here, getting eyes on this job. And I saw that there was only one person kind of in charge of that mantle.
sure.
My 4 years here, I always tried to help out, being part of recruiting. So that's kind of my goal. But
Thank you for that.
I'll keep it real with you guys. Like I did apply. You saw all those special units on there.
Hmm.
K, the canine unit is calling me. So I would
Ah,
to get
you
a
know, some of
dog.
that training for, I don't know where the training is for you guys, but a lot of the people that get the training in the canine units go down to Lackland Air Force Base. A lot,
Correct. Yeah. So they'll go
a
down
lot.
there. They
Yeah.
just did a training. I was in my desk area. They just did a training here, looking for stuff. And one of them at the end, he was like, hey Jackson, like, are you gonna answer the call? Like, do you want to come?" I was like, "I'll leave right now." I almost set the headset off. So
That's
that
awesome.
is my number one goal right now.
I
And then
love
yeah,
that.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love the career opportunities, and people can see it from you, and you're being so forthright about it, and
Yeah.
all
And
these
you're
possibilities. Yeah, it's great.
and then it's gonna change. So
Of
also
course, of
at
course.
that time, early before I even wanted to do recruiting,
Yep.
I was at NSA. I really wanted to do counterterrorism because that's where
Sure,
the mission was at that time. So
sure.
I was trying to get onto the unit there at that job, and then a mentor told me, he's like, "Hey, you can do that at Park Police too." And he's like, "You can ride a horse and do all those things there." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So I switched over. Once I switched over,
That's
it
awesome.
changed. It changed because I understood once you get to the job, you have to be a sergeant to be in the intel unit. So I was like,
Okay,
okay, I'll see if I want to do that. But then recruiting changed my mind. K9 changed my mind. So throughout your whole career, you're gonna want to do different avenues, and you can still do those things.
sure.
One of my classmates, the president of my class, he was a horse mounted unit for a
Ah,
couple years, and right now he just got last week he just got promoted to do our motorcycle unit. So
nice.
you can kind of do anything you want here and be in and out of any specialty you want to.
And that was, by the way, earlier you were mentioning, that's a great segue. The final question, Spencer, thank you for your time. It's a
Hmm.
great one, is how will AI have an impact on this job?
Um, I I don't think it will have a major impact. Obviously, with the National Park Service, we do have AI popping up. They help us out with even recruiting. It'll help us out with stats and things like that. But
Hmm.
this is a boots on the ground job. Will it help us out with technology? Of course, but yeah, mainly
Nothing
everything else
else
is
other than that.
yeah, nothing else really here. As long as we're taking care of the monuments, all the national parks that we have, I don't see AI really unless they get Wi-Fi in the trees and things like that. I don't know about that.
Well, thank you again, Spencer, for being, it was just an amazing presentation. We're so privileged again to have you today. If you want to connect with the United States Park Police and other organizations that are actively hiring, please log into Handshake through your student portal. We recommend checking Handshake UAGC Connect and your email regularly for more career services events. Reminder, you will receive a follow-up email with a link to this recording and information about careers at the United States Park Police. If you have any questions for the Career Services team on your resume, cover letter, or job search, please email careerservices@uagc.edu or log in to Handshake through your student portal to explore more resources. Please take 1 minute to hang on. At the close of this information session, you'll be directed to complete a quick confidential survey. Your responses will guide us in planning future employer information sessions, career fairs, and events. If you're unable to complete it now, the survey will be emailed to you with a copy of the recording. Many thanks again to Spencer at the United States Park Police for joining us today. And many thanks to you, our students and graduates, for attending UAGC. We wouldn't be here without you. Thank you for attending this event today. We look forward to seeing you at more Career Services hosted events this year. And everyone have a great day. Thanks again, Spencer.
Thank you guys so much. That was my first one, so
You did awesome. Thank you
let's
so
try
much.
to do more next time.
You did great. Thank you so much.
All
Take
right,
care,
have a
man.
good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.